Here are 3 things that I learned from my first 6 interviews with business owners. Be prepared to pivot. Just about all the people that I interviewed have a business that is at least a little bit different than what they originally set out to do.
I was in the market for franchising a coffee company, Human Bean Coffee, and spent like a year-ish of time when I was working at a credit union making that happen. I was venting to the guy who was tending my car at the time. He basically mentioned how, everything expires when it comes to milk and beans and stuff that, ingredients for coffee shop. It turned into me purchasing it from him.
I had done it for 12, 13, 14 years. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life in that career in that industry. I didn't want to become a brewer. I maybe wanted to own my own brewery at some point or craft beer bar, but I didn't want to do, some of the tasks that I wasn't great at. I wasn't fully present for my bosses, and that was a total disservice to them. But it was hard for me because I really wanted to make this voiceover thing full time. So my bosses basically gave me an ultimatum and said, hey, we know you're doing this voiceover thing, and we think it's awesome. We think it's great that you're doing this. We're entrepreneurs ourselves, and we support you. But we need more of you at the business. While this happened, I said, okay, I'm going to make the plunge. I can't go along in the brewery with you guys. I need to go do this because I just feel it in my gut that I have to do this.
What originally got me into playing with wood and building furniture and starting this business was building custom skateboards as a teenager. I started a small little kind of side hustle company building custom longboard skateboards. And while doing that, I was always looking for good wood and started noticing these trees coming down and the opportunity for the salvage and reuse of them. And one thing leads to another over the years. That's what kind of got me here.
So 2018, I had finished my career as a professional disc golfer while still teaching full-time. So I was an ambassador. I was working with a lot of different companies that were smaller. And then some larger companies started reaching out, and I started working with some international companies for clothing design and as well as disc golf manufacturers and stuff like that. So started doing media, making YouTube videos, coaching, making a disc golf brand, running tournaments. I mean, I was like all into that. So that was super fun. I did that for about 5 or 6 years. Then fall of 2019, people were starting to say, like, I really don't like social media. Oh, you should hire Rick. He's on YouTube and Instagram, and he does that kind of thing. I was like, I don't do that. So yeah, I sat down with a friend, and he goes, hey, well, let's see what this looks like. So after about 2 or 3 minutes of talking, he's like, all right, you're hired. I was like, for what? He's like, everything, all of it. I don't know. Let's just figure it out. What do you think you're worth? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm a teacher. I don't get paid very much. He's like, okay, well, let's just figure it out.
And one of those people was interested in bringing me on full time. And I thought, well, that sounds great because I feel like I've been barely scraping by for a while, living paycheck to paycheck doing this. Even though I enjoy it, I was getting exhausted about kind of the hunt all the time. Some consistency and some reliability and de-risking a little bit feels nice going into this new chapter of my life. So I jumped onto this company, and within 6 months, I was let go. Luckily, my wife was working at the time in another place, but I drove over there. I was like, I got fired today, So I had essentially built this database of clients before they hired me and brought that database in. And they were saying that you couldn't contact those people anymore, which I did immediately. Which Arizona is, they threatened some things, and I had to talk to a lawyer. But basically, Arizona is a right-to-work state, which means that they can't deny you the ability to earn a living doing the thing that you do.
Right.
And so it wasn't, I violated it, but it's kind of a gray area. So I contacted immediately people because I had to figure this out. And that's when I started Tippy Media. And that's the same business that I have today that still produces probably the majority of our earning income.
Really?
Yeah.
Number 2 is find some strategic partners to help you. It's going to be a lot harder to start or run a business all by yourself.
So I've always kind of been like, man, there's got to be people out there who care about anything, something,
Right.
I feel like I would go through and there's just so many people who just don't care anymore about anything. Trying to get all those people who are kind of like hidden in the corners or whatever, trying to collect them together so that way we can make an impact together, because it's not something I can do alone.
Not being too overprotective of every little detail or not micromanaging, letting good people kind of do their thing without trying to control it all, which can be hard for a type A personality or somebody that is building this thing that's like their baby, you know. can be hard to let go of control sometimes. But I think that's been a key to success. And I think if I were to look back and say, maybe if I were able to do a little bit more of that sooner, it might have helped.
You cast this huge vision, which is awesome. You can storyboard it, you can dream about it, but then without those other people, you're having to do all those different roles, and then you conflict with yourself and compete with yourself, and then your time is ruined here because you're trying to figure out the stuff in the future, so then you're stuck in the past, and then you're trying to move forward, so you just get a really convoluted business that really doesn't grow or scale. It just stays stagnant for a long time.
Every job's going to have its thing that you don't like to do that you have to do. You know, that's the disciplines and the natures of a career. But at the same time, there's ways to grow your business, and there's ways to do things where you can find people with the strengths to do that.
Right.
That's part of the reason. Like, my strength is not in numbers and calculations. Jordan is a supercomputer when it comes to that. I don't touch the loans. So he does the loans.
Okay.
I don't touch the loans. But what I love to do is I like to promote other people and help other people grow. I like building pipelines. What most people would fear as public speaking, I enjoy beyond a shadow of a doubt. And so it's like, those are my strengths. That's what gives me life. What doesn't give me life is sitting behind a desk and figuring out calculations and numbers. And I bang my head against concrete.
For me, it's finding partners that I really enjoy working with that have expertise in those specific fields. And it's like a relationship. I mean, it's like a marriage in some ways. There's a lot of communication. There's a lot of clarifying expectations from day one. There's check-ins, making sure that not only are we communicating, but that we're staying in our own lane. And that's tough for me, especially, and my other partners will probably attest to that. But just kind of knowing what your role is in a business and making sure that your expertise is focused on that role and not trying to veer too much into anybody else's, and then really trusting the people that you're partnered with. What I've found is there's kind of 3 key roles in any business. And so when I'm looking to start something new, I'm looking for not only where I fit in those 3 roles, but where are those other 2. And if there's too much similarity, then it's probably not going to be a good long-term partnership.
Number 3 is do it for a greater purpose than just the money. I think a lot of us have this idea about business owners being greedy people, but a lot of them have a vision that is much bigger than just their business and making money.
There was a point, like cars has been a huge thing for me, and it's like almost like my drug. You can't stop even if you want to. That actually took a lot of energy and time and thought out of my day. And it's easier said than done. If I told my younger self that, I would be like, yeah, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
And it was, to an extent. But I don't want to just have a ton of things. I want to make a ton of difference.
What do you actually want to do? What do you need to do? What is God calling you to do? And so for me, I was like, I really want to be in the community. I really want to go talk to these people. I really want to be a part of all of the sphere of influence that people are about. But at the same time, for some reason, I need to be in a classroom stuck feeling for 25 kids whose their lives are going to be changed.
It's sad to me when people feel like they are wasting your time with having a conversation. And it's like, you're not. Because if your why aligns, if you have humility in why you do something, it doesn't matter. Because you're going to meet with somebody and say, you know what, my why is to help serve and get somebody to a better situation. So if you're interested in buying a home, call, get educated at least. And I think a lot of times people that if they get into it for the money, it's short-sighted. It's going to fall apart. If they get in it for the fame, it's not going to be fulfilling. You're going to sell your soul. You're going to do all these things. If you get in it because you love to do it, then the grind's not as grinding.
Right.
Now you enjoy the grind. You enjoy the process because you're doing what you were designed to do and what you're passionate about doing. And so it goes back to a philosopher that I love, Simon Sinek. What is your why? Why do you do it? You know, why is it that you do it?
If you like what you saw here in these short clips, please consider watching the full episodes. You can find them here on our channel on YouTube, or you can listen to them on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. My name is Randy, founder of The Merchandise Show, where we help you mind your own business. Thanks again for watching, subscribe, and tell your friends about us.